Dr. Maya Chen stared at the sequence, anomaly blinking on her screen. The strange pattern of nucleotides that shouldn't exist in human DNA. Her own DNA. That can't be right, she muttered, tucking a strand of dark hair behind her ear. The university lab was empty at 3 a.m., just how she liked it. No interruptions, no students, no department politics, just her equipment, and the mysteries of genomics. She ran the analysis again. Same result. Maya leaned back in her chair, the artificial light catching the small scar above her left eyebrow, a childhood accident that her parents never discussed. She'd been studying human genetic diversity as part of her postdoctoral research, focusing on underrepresented populations. Using herself as a test subject had seemed efficient. Now, she wasn't so sure. The anomalous sequence was tiny, just 47 base pairs, but unlike anything documented in the human genome. More troublingly, it didn't match any known terrestrial organisms either. She'd run comparisons against every genomic database available. Maya rubbed her eyes. She should sleep, approach this fresh tomorrow. Instead, she pulled up her parents' medical records that she'd borrowed from their doctor years ago, a minor ethical transgression that had seemed justified given her family's mysterious medical history. Her father's unexplained seizures, her mother's abnormal brain scans, her own migraines that seemed to correspond with solar flare activity, something she'd tracked since adolescence out of scientific curiosity. Neither parent showed the sequence anomaly she'd found in herself. Her phone buzzed with a text from Ben, her colleague and closest friend at Stanford. "You still awake? Found something weird in our astrobiology samples. Lab 4 now." Maya hesitated, glancing at her screen. She should analyze this further before sharing it with anyone, even Ben. But coincidences made her uneasy. With a few keystrokes, she encrypted her findings, grabbed her coffee, and headed down the hall. Dr. Benjamin Wolfe was hunched over a microscope when she entered, his lanky frame folded into an uncomfortable-looking position. His perpetually disheveled appearance, curly hair sticking up in all directions, rumpled shirt with coffee stains, belied one of the sharpest minds in astrobiology. "You need to see this," he said without looking up. "The meteorite sample from the Atacama impact site. I've been running some tests on the microscopic structures we found embedded in it." He gestured to the microscope. "Look." Maya set down her coffee and peered into the eyepiece. The structures resembled crystalline filaments, almost like DNA, she breathed. "Not DNA as we know it," Ben corrected, "but something analogous. A molecular information storage system. I've been trying to sequence it." Maya straightened, her heart pounding. "Any success?" Ben pushed a tablet toward her. "Partial. The structure keeps degrading under our sequencing methods. But I managed to get this fragment." Maya took the tablet, scanned the sequence, and felt the room tilt slightly. The fragment contained the exact 47 base pairs she'd found in her own genome. "Ben," she said carefully, "when did this meteorite impact Earth?" "Approximately 33 years ago." "What?" Maya was 32. "No reason," she lied. "Just establishing a timeline." In the reflection of the tablet screen, she saw the scar above her eyebrow. The one her parents claimed came from falling off a swing as a baby, and wondered for the first time if that was true. 3 days later, Maya sat at her apartment, surrounded by papers, digital screens, and empty coffee cups. She hadn't slept. How could she? The anomalous sequence in her DNA matched extraterrestrial molecular structure from a meteorite that had crashed to Earth shortly before her birth. And she wasn't the only one that, after discreetly checking genetic sequences from anonymous databases, she'd found 17 other individuals worldwide with the same anomaly, all born within months of the Atacama impact, all exhibiting unusual neurological patterns according to medical records she'd accessed through questionable means. She hadn't told Ben about her discovery. Not yet. First, she needed to understand what this sequence did. Was it just junk DNA? A harmless artifact? Or something more significant? The sequence itself was peculiar. It contained nucleotide combinations that shouldn't be stable, but somehow were. When she modeled its protein expression, the resulting structure looked like nothing she'd ever seen. A complex, symmetrical molecule that seemed designed to interact with neural tissue. Her phone rang, breaking her concentration. Dr. Eleanor Wright, her department chair. Maya answered reluctantly. "Dr. Chen." Wright's clipped voice came through. You've missed 3 faculty meetings and haven't responded to emails. Your graduate students are concerned. I've been ill, Maya lied, eyeing the genetic models on her screens. Some kind of flu. I'm sorry to hear that, Wright said, not sounding sorry at all. But there's someone here who insists on meeting with you. A Dr. Hasani from the WHO. Something about your recent database search is raising flags. Maya froze. She'd been careful, used encrypted connections. How had someone traced her research activities? I will be there in an hour, she said, mind racing. Don't bother, Wright replied. He's on his way to your apartment now. The call ended. Maya stared at her phone, then at the chaos of her research-strewn apartment. She needed to hide this, all of it, before a knock at her door. Too late. Heart pounding, she closed her laptop and went to answer, considering and discarding excuses for her research. When she opened the door, she found not the stern who official she'd expected, but a slender, dark-skinned man with kind eyes and a gentle smile. He wore a simple gray suit and carried no briefcase, no official identification. Dr. Maya Chen, he said, his voice carrying a slight accent she couldn't place. I am Dr. Hasani. May I come in? Something about his calm demeanor made her step aside. You've been researching the Atacama sequence, he said once inside, glancing at her poorly hidden research materials with knowing eyes. How do you know about that? Maya demanded. Because I carry it too, he said simply. As do you. As do 16 others around the world. Maya sank into a chair. Who are you really? I told you. Dr. Hasani, epidemiologist. That part is true. What I didn't mention is that I've been tracking the Atacama children for decades. I was the first, you see, born 9 months after the impact, in a village not far from the crash site. He gestured to his head. I have a scar too, though mine is hidden by my hair. What does it mean? Maya asked. The sequence, the scars, all of it. That's what we've been trying to determine. Most of us lead normal lives. Exceptional in some ways. We tend towards scientific pursuits, have unusual pattern recognition abilities, experience sensitivity to electromagnetic phenomena. But normal nonetheless. Most of us. Hasani's expression darkened. 4 have died. Brain aneurysms. All within the last 6 months. Their sequence activated somehow. Activated? It's dormant. It appears to be a type of molecular switch, triggered under specific conditions. He met her gaze directly. Conditions that are beginning to occur more frequently as the object approaches. What object? Hasani moved to her window and pointed to the evening sky. It's not visible to standard telescopes yet, but it's coming, a massive object following the same trajectory as our meteorite fragment. The fragment that changed our DNA was just a tiny piece that broke off early and reached Earth first. The main body is arriving soon. Maya joined him at the window, staring up at the darkening sky, unable to see what he described but feeling its approach in her bones, in the increasing migraines, in the strange dreams that had plagued her since childhood, dreams of stars and distant worlds and knowledge encoded in light. Why are you telling me this now? Because your sequence is beginning to activate, just like the others before they died. I've been monitoring unusual database searches, brain anomalies in hospital records. You've been experiencing headaches, insomnia, perhaps strange perceptual shifts. Maya nodded slowly. But you are different, he continued. Your activation pattern is stable. The others, their bodies rejected the changes. You are adapting. He held out his hand. In his palm lay a small device resembling a smooth river stone. This can help manage the symptoms while we figure out what's happening. Maya took the device cautiously. It felt warm against her skin, vibrating subtly at a frequency that somehow eased the pressure in her head she hadn't even realized was there. What does the sequence want? She whispered. Hasani's eyes reflected something ancient and knowing. Perhaps the better question is, what were we made to do? The observatory was technically closed to visitors, but Ben's faculty ID and a convincing story about urgent astronomical research had gotten them access. Maya adjusted the controls of the massive telescope, following the coordinates Hasani had provided. I still think we should have reported this to someone, Ben muttered, glancing nervously at the door. He'd been skeptical when Maya finally revealed everything to him, but the evidence had been too compelling to dismiss. NASA, the military, someone with actual authority. And tell them what? Maya asked, not looking up from the eyepiece. That 18 people worldwide have alien DNA that's activating as a mysterious object approaches Earth? That 4 have already died from it. They'd either panic or lock us up for study. Hasani's whose credentials could lend credibility, Ben suggested. Hasani isn't actually with the WHO, Maya admitted. That was just his cover to meet me. He's been independent, working with a small network of scientists who know about the Atacama incident. Mostly family members of the affected. The telescope's motors hummed as it adjusted to the precise coordinates. Maya fell silent as the image came into focus, a dark object moving against the backdrop of stars. Not a comet or asteroid as she'd expected, but something unnervingly geometric. Artificial. My God, Ben breathed, taking his turn at the eyepiece. That's a ship. Maya nodded, the pressure in her head building despite Hasani's device. 4 weeks now, the symptoms have been intensifying. Migraines that brought visions. Moments where she understood complex physical concepts that had previously eluded her. Instances where she seemed to perceive electromagnetic fields directly. Hasani had gathered the surviving 13 carriers of the sequence at a remote research facility in New Mexico. They've been sharing experiences, documenting the accelerating changes in their cognition. 3 more had suffered cerebral hemorrhages, leaving just 10 of them now. The only pattern they'd found was that those with the most active scientific backgrounds seemed to survive the activation process better, as if regular intellectual stimulation had prepared their brains for the transformation. The Maya's phone buzzed with a text from Hasani. Object has accelerated. New trajectory puts arrival at 72 hours. Government agencies have detected it now. Meeting at facility ASAP. We need to go, she told Ben, showing him the message. Wait, he said, still looking through the telescope. It's changing direction, making course corrections. This isn't some mindless artifact on a collision course. It's being piloted. Maya felt a chill. Or it's automated, following a preset protocol triggered by our activation. Ben finally looked at her, concern etched on his face. What if this isn't first contact, Maya? What if it's a follow-up visit? The question hung between them, heavy with implications. By the time they reached the New Mexico facility, a repurposed private research campus owned by one of the affected's family members. The atmosphere had changed from cautious scientific inquiry to crisis management. Government agencies worldwide had detected the approaching object. Speculation ran wild in classified briefings and on social media alike. The 10 carriers of the sequence gathered in the main laboratory, each looking more haggard than when Maya had last seen them 2 weeks earlier. The activation process was taking its toll. Nosebleeds, tremors, moments of lost time. But they were surviving, adapting, their minds expanding in ways that defied conventional neuroscience. Hasani stood before a wall of screens, displaying the approaching object from various Earth-based and orbital telescopes. Its features were more visible now, a massive structure of interconnected geometric forms, like nothing in humanity's engineering repertoire. 72 hours until it reaches Earth orbit, he announced. NASA and other space agencies are preparing response protocols. Military assets are being mobilized globally. They can't fight this, said Imani Okoro, a Nigerian physicist who carried the sequence. Whatever technology can cross interstellar space would render our weapons meaningless. Which is why we need to understand our purpose before they arrive, Maya said. All eyes turned to her. We are not random. Our DNA was modified for a reason. We are either weapons or ambassadors. Or experiments, added Tomas Reyes, a Chilean geneticist. Lab rats carrying their genetic markers. Maya shook her head. Too inefficient. If an intelligence can engineer our DNA with such precision, they could have created full biological constructs rather than subtly modifying human embryos. Unless, Ben interjected, the point was integration. An alien intelligence designed to grow within a human context, to understand humanity from the inside. A heavy silence fell over the room as they considered the implications. There's another possibility, Maya said quietly. What if they're not coming to invade or study us? What if they're coming because we called them? She described her theory that the sequence activation wasn't just changing them physically, but broadcasting a signal, a beacon detectable across interstellar distances. We need to find a way to communicate collectively, she concluded. Pull our transforming cognition. The sequence is reshaping our neural architecture for a reason. Hasani nodded slowly. Dr. Chen is right. We've been studying the activation as a medical phenomenon, but it's really a communication protocol initializing. Within hours, they had converted the facility's MRI suite into an improvised neural interface lab. Using customized electromagnetic field generators based on their evolving understanding of the sequence's effects, they created a crude but functional system that could amplify and synchronize their altered brain activity. As the object continued its approach, now visible to amateur telescopes and causing worldwide anxiety, the 10 carriers of the Atacama sequence connected themselves to the interface system. Maya felt the familiar pressure in her head intensify, then transform into something else. A sense of expansion, as if her consciousness was being extended beyond the boundaries of her skull. She became aware of the others not as separate individuals, but as facets of a unified cognitive system. Thoughts flowed between them, without words. Concepts too complex for language taking shape in their collective awareness. And beneath it all, a growing sense of remembering. Not personal memories, but something vaster. Older, the sequence in their DNA wasn't alien. It was human. Or rather, it was from the original template from which humanity had been derived, long ago. The knowledge unfolded within their shared consciousness. Earth had been seeded. Humanity was an offshoot of an ancient spacefaring civilization that had collapsed millions of years ago, its survivors scattered across countless worlds, many devolving to primitive states as their technologies failed. The approaching ship was automated, programmed to respond when a colony reached a specific technological threshold and activated the dormant genetic keys in their DNA. Keys that had been diluted over generations, but occasionally reasserted in specific individuals when triggered by fragments of their progenitors' technology, like the Atacama meteorite. They weren't being invaded. They were being collected, reconnected to a network of human worlds they'd never known existed. Through their joined consciousness, Maya felt something else, a presence reaching back from the ship, acknowledging their signal. Not alien, but different. Evolved along another branch of the same tree. That we have heard you. We are coming to welcome you back. The military helicopters arrived at dawn, surrounding the facility with a show of force that would have been impressive if not for what they now understood was approaching. General Laura Hayes, Joint Chiefs of Staff, strode into the laboratory flanked by aides and Special Forces operators, her expression grim. Dr. Chen, Dr. Hasani, she announced, by presidential order, you and your colleague are being placed under protective custody. Your research is now classified at the highest level. Maya and the others had disconnected from their neural interface hours earlier, exhausted but transformed by the experience. The knowledge they gained was still settling into their consciousness, reshaping their understanding of human history and their place in the cosmos. General, Maya said, stepping forward despite Ben's cautioning hand on her arm, you need to listen to us. The object isn't hostile. Hayes studied her with cold efficiency. You've had contact. Yes, Maya confirmed. They are human, or what humanity was before Earth was seeded. Our ancestors. The general's expression didn't change, but she dismissed her aides with a gesture, leaving only her senior staff. Explain, she ordered, quickly and convincingly, before my orders to evacuate you to a secure facility supersede my curiosity. Maya glanced at Hasani, who nodded encouragement. They had known this moment would come. The difficult task of convincing traditional power structures to stand down, to welcome rather than fear. Millions of years ago, Maya began, a spacefaring human civilization spread throughout this region of the galaxy. They seeded compatible planets with genetically modified versions of themselves, adapted to each world's conditions. Earth was one such colony. You expect me to believe humans originated elsewhere? Hayes interrupted. The evidence is in our DNA, Hasani said. The Atacama sequence isn't alien. It's original, more authentic than the rest of our genome, which was modified for Earth conditions. Maya continued. Their civilization suffered some catastrophe, a war perhaps, or a natural disaster on a cosmic scale. Communication between colonies was lost. Many, including Earth, regressed technologically, losing knowledge of their origins. The approaching ship is automated, added Imani Okoro, programmed to reconnect with colonies once they achieved certain technological markers. The Atacama meteorite was a fragment of their technology that landed here early, carrying the activation sequence that was incorporated into some of our DNA. Our altered neurology allowed us to receive and interpret their communication. Maya finished. They're coming to re-establish contact, to welcome Earth back into a network of human worlds. Hayes was silent for a long moment, then, "You have precisely 12 hours to prove this. The president has authorized preemptive strikes if that object makes any aggressive moves." Maya felt sick. "You can't attack them. Their technology is millennia beyond ours." "Then convince me we shouldn't," Hayes replied coldly. "Because right now, an unknown object large enough to be seen from Earth telescopes is on approach, and 18 civilians with no security clearance claim to be in psychic contact with it. That's not exactly reassuring." "We don't need 12 hours, Hasani said. "We can prove it now." He turned to Maya. "The ship has been scanning Earth since it entered the solar system. It has undoubtedly detected their weapons preparations. If we are right about its purpose, it should be sending a clearer signal by now, one designed to be understood by Earth's current technology." Maya nodded, understanding. "Check your communications, General. All channels, all frequencies. There should be a message coming through that your systems can decode." Hayes studied them skeptically, but spoke into her comm device, issuing orders. Moments later, one of her aides rushed in, face pale. "General, SETI arrays worldwide are picking up a signal from the object. It's broadcasting in multiple formats, radio, digital, using mathematical sequences as a foundation. And," he hesitated, "it's using English, Mandarin, Russian, Arabic, Hindi, and a dozen other Earth languages." Hayes turned back to Maya, expression unreadable. "What does it say?" "We are the progenitors," Maya quoted, the words coming to her with certainty, though she hadn't seen the message herself. "You are our descendants. Prepare for reunion." The aide looked startled. "Those are the exact words, General." Hayes's composure finally cracked, showing a flash of the human behind the military facade. "My God, it's true. The question now," Hasani said carefully, "is how humanity responds. With fear and weapons? Or by embracing a heritage we never knew we had?" The next 72 hours transformed human civilization forever. As the Progenitor ship established orbit around Earth, global communication systems received data packets containing humanity's true history, evidence of their seeding program, star maps showing other human-inhabited worlds, knowledge that confirmed what Maya and the others had glimpsed in their neural connection. Initial fear gave way to cautious wonder, then to celebration as the implications became clear. Humanity was not alone, had never been alone. The universe contained billions of their cousins, adapted to different worlds, but sharing a common ancestor. Maya stood with Ben on the observation deck of the International Space Station, where they'd been brought to participate in the first formal meeting with the Progenitor representatives. Below them, Earth continued its stately rotation, its nations temporarily united by the revelation of their shared cosmic heritage. "I still can't believe it's happening," Ben said, gazing through the viewport at the massive Progenitor vessel positioned nearby, its geometric surfaces gleaming in the sunlight. "First contact, except it's not really first, and they're not really aliens. The anthropologists are having existential crises," Maya agreed with a smile. "All our origin stories just got rewritten." The 10 carriers of the Atacama sequence had become humanity's de facto ambassadors, their modified neurology allowing them to communicate more effectively with the progenitors. Maya's migraines had vanished, replaced by an expanded awareness that sometimes overwhelmed her, but increasingly felt natural. "Do you regret it?" Ben asked suddenly. "Learning what we are? What you are? Some people are saying it diminishes humanity, knowing we were engineered." Maya considered this. "I think it elevates us. We weren't just random chance. We are part of something larger, a grand design. And we succeeded where many colonies failed. We survived, advanced, preserved our essence despite losing our history." She touched the scar above her eyebrow. Not an accident, as her parents had claimed, but the mark left when the Atacama sequence had been incorporated into her embryonic cells. Her parents had known something unusual had happened during her mother's pregnancy near the impact site, but hadn't understood its significance. "Besides," she added, "the progenitors don't see themselves as our creators or masters. They are our family, coming home to find that the children have been doing quite well on their own. The station's comm system activated. Dr. Chen, Dr. Wolf, please report to the docking bay. The Progenitor delegation has arrived. They made their way through the station's modules, joining General Hayes, UN representatives, and the other Atacama carriers at the airlock. Maya felt a strange sense of homecoming as the outer door opened to admit the visitors. The progenitors appeared human, unsurprisingly, given their shared genetic heritage, but with subtle differences. Taller, with more varied skin tones, including shades of amber and copper not found on Earth, and eyes adapted to different light spectra that gave them an otherworldly appearance. They moved with a fluid grace that suggested comfort in varying gravitational environments. Their leader, who had introduced herself as Navigator Alara, stepped forward with open hands, a gesture of greeting they had shared in advance. "Children of Earth," she said in lightly accented English, "we have waited long to find you again." General Hayes, representing Earth's nations, stepped forward. "We welcome you, though we are still coming to terms with our history." "As are we," Alara replied. "Each rediscovered world teaches us something new about what humanity can become under different conditions. Your adaptability, your determination despite isolation, these are traits we admire greatly." She turned to Maya and the other sequence carriers. "And you, the bridge generation, have performed your function admirably, creating understanding where there might have been fear." Maya felt a surge of emotion, not entirely her own, but flowing through the enhanced neural connections the sequence had created. "We were fortunate that science led us to truth before fear led us to weapons." "Indeed," Alara agreed. "On many worlds, the reunion begins with conflict. Earth has shown wisdom beyond our expectations." General Hayes cleared her throat. That wisdom came very close to being overruled by caution. If not for Dr. Chen and her colleagues. "Every reunion balances on such moments," Alara said. "The choices made when facing the unknown define a civilization." She addressed the assembled humans. "We have not come to change your world or govern your development. We offer knowledge, connection to the greater human family among the stars, and the truth of your origins. How you proceed remains your choice." Maya stepped forward. "And what about us?" she asked, indicating the sequence carriers. "Those with the Atacama modifications?" Alara's expression softened. "You are the bridge, neither fully of Earth nor of the stars. Your neural architecture will continue to evolve, allowing you to serve as intermediaries if you choose, where you may have the sequence deactivated and live as you were. The choice is yours." Maya thought of all she had experienced, the pain of activation, the wonder of expanded perception, the knowledge that had reshaped her understanding of humanity's place in the cosmos. The choice seemed obvious. "I think I can speak for all of us," she said, looking to her fellow carriers who nodded agreement. "We choose to be the bridge." 1 year later, Maya stood on the observation platform of Reunion Station, the joint human progenitor facility constructed in Earth orbit. Below her, the blue marble of Earth rotated serenely, while above, the vast structure of the Progenitor ship dominated the view. "Beautiful, isn't it?" Ben said, joining her at the viewport. "Both the view and what it represents." Maya nodded, thinking of all that had changed. The initial shock and wonder had given way to a more complex reality as humanity grappled with its redefined place in the cosmos. There had been resistance, particularly from religious institutions facing theological crises, and for nationalist factions suspicious of cosmic unification. But for most, the revelation of humanity's greater family had been inspiring rather than threatening. The Atacama carriers, now officially designated as bridges, had been crucial in the transition, their enhanced neurology allowing them to interpret and translate not just language, but cultural concepts between Earth humans and their stellar cousins. "I received approval for our expedition," Ben announced, breaking into her thoughts. "The progenitors have agreed to transport a joint scientific team to the Centauri colonies." Maya smiled. "That's wonderful. The first Earth humans to visit another human world. And you'll be leading the bridge team," Ben added. "If you accept." Maya touched the neural interface at her temple, a refined version of Hasani's original device, now standard for the bridges. Through it, she could connect to the growing network of communication and knowledge spanning Earth, and the progenitor systems. Of course I accept, she said. It's what we were made for, isn't it? To bridge worlds. Ben's expression grew serious. Not everyone sees it that way. The protests are growing in some regions. People claiming we are surrendering human autonomy, that Earth should develop on its own path. Fear speaking, Maya replied. Change is always frightening, especially change this fundamental. But we are not losing our humanity. We are expanding it. She knew the debates raging on Earth, had participated in many herself as a bridge. Was humanity diminished by learning it had been engineered? Was Earth's culture at risk from integration with the greater human family? Would access to advanced technology solve humanity's problems or create new ones? Valid questions, all. But Maya had seen the progenitors' records of other reunions. Some peaceful, some violent, all transformative. Earth's transition was among the smoother ones, perhaps because the Atacama activation had created ambassadors who could understand both perspectives. I've been reviewing the genetic data from the other colony worlds, she told Ben. The variations are fascinating. Humans adapted for higher gravity, different atmospheric compositions, even aquatic environments. All still recognizably human, but with such diversity of expression. The ultimate demonstration that humanity isn't defined by our biology, Ben noted. Across dozens of worlds with different physical adaptations, the core of what makes us human remains. Maya's neural interface pulsed gently, signaling an incoming connection. She accepted, feeling the familiar expansion of awareness as her consciousness linked with the network. Hasani was calling from the Lagos conference, where Earth's nations were debating the terms of formal integration with the interstellar human community. The vote is complete. His thoughts came through clearly. Earth has accepted provisional membership. We are officially part of the human continuity now. Maya shared her joy through the connection, then relayed the news to Ben. So it's done, he said. Humanity's long isolation is officially over. Not over, Maya corrected. Just entering a new phase. We are still uniquely Earth human, shaped by this world's conditions and history. That doesn't change because we've discovered our extended family. Through her enhanced perception, Maya could sense the complex emotions flowing through the station. Excitement, anxiety, determination, wonder, from both Earth humans and progenitors. The future was uncertain, as it had always been for humanity. But now they faced it with greater knowledge of their past and a broader horizon for their future. The Atacama sequence in her DNA, once mysterious, then frightening, now familiar, had been just the beginning. Not an alien intrusion, but a key, unlocking humanity's true heritage. Maya Chen, bridge between worlds, looked out at the stars, no longer distant and unreachable, but filled with the light of human civilizations waiting to be rediscovered. Whatever challenges lay ahead, humanity would face them as they had always faced the unknown, with curiosity, resilience, and an indomitable drive to understand their place in the cosmos. Not just survivors on a solitary world, but part of a grand, ancient family spread across the stars, finally coming home to each other.